We'll talk about that a little bit when we move a little more forward in here. But just a quick introduction. My name is Devin Knight. If you're not familiar with me, I'm the training director at Pragmatic. So I do anything that has to do with training, including webinars. I work very closely with Rachel on. I'm a SQL Server MVP, so I've had that since about just October, so under a year I've been MVP. I've authored, actually, it's about to be 6 SQL Server books, so I have a new SSIS book coming out, all mainly around SQL Server. I also run a local user group here in Jacksonville called the Jacksonville SQL Server User Group. And I also blog at a website called bidn.com where I take a lot of pictures of internet cats, as you can see there. So our plan for today, what we're going to be looking at is, first of all, we're going to talk about what Power BI is and what really all the entities are that make up Power BI, because there's a lot of different pieces and parts of Power BI. So we're going to talk about all of what those pieces and parts are and how they fit together. And then we're also going to get a quick little tour of all the tools. There's a lot of tools that I plan on showing you today. So a lot of what I'm going to show you will probably be partially completed or maybe all the way completed, just so that I can make sure I have time to show you a little glimpse at what everything is that's available to you. Then briefly at the end, I'm going to bring up and talk about what the Power BI pricing is. They actually released the pricing for Power BI about a month ago, maybe a little bit more than a month ago. So that way, if you're interested in actually subscribing to Power BI, you'll have some kind of an idea of what cost it would be for you. So we'll talk a bit about that. All right, so let's start by talking first about what is Power BI. And Power BI really is an accumulation of a bunch of different tools that allow your business to do self-service BI. Okay, so you'll see a lot of people talk about self-service BI and Power BI together. And that's because Power BI is Microsoft's flavor of their way of doing self-service BI. It's mainly through Excel, and it's an accumulation of a bunch of tools. Some of them you may be already familiar with, and some of them may be brand new to you. So what comes with Power BI is a set of tools, and I'm going to kind of talk about each of those tools here. The first tool I'm going to bring up with you, and I'll demo to you here in a few moments, is Power Query. Power Query is a self-service data extraction tool. Okay, so those of you that are more familiar with the enterprise way of doing BI, this would be more along the lines of an SSIS type of a tool. It's certainly not as enterprise ready as SSIS is, but it allows you to do all kinds of data extractions and manipulations, so it has a transform layer in there, all through a familiar interface, all through Excel. Now the beautiful thing about Power Query is even though it's a brand new tool, Microsoft actually created it in a way that it can be used both in Excel 2010 or 2013. Either one will work just fine. So if you have either Excel 2010 or 2013, you can use Power Query and start extracting data and pulling it into Excel. Now, what the point of that is it's going to allow you to pull in some new data sources and eventually add that information to a data source that you already have. So picture this. I have a data warehouse, or I have some kind of a reporting database that I use right now. But I'd like to enhance that reporting database by adding some new and more interesting data sources. Now, if I were to ask IT to do that, it would oftentimes take them months to complete. It may take them even up to 6 months or a year to complete adding in a new data source into my reporting database. So what Power Query allows me to do is pull in that new interesting data source that I would like to add in for reporting purposes and merge it together with my reporting database all through Excel. So I take in my new interesting data set through Power Query, I merge that together using a tool called Power Pivot, which is my next one I'll talk about here. So merging my Power Query extract and my data model that I have for my reporting layer, I can bring those two together inside Power Pivot. Okay, so Power Query is the data extraction tool. Power Pivot is more of a data mashup tool. So it can allow you to take multiple data sources, multiple extraneous data sources together, pull them together, and create relationships between them. So I can create relationships between data sources that didn't previously have relationships. Okay, so I can even find data out on the web, for example, using Power Query, and merge that together or mash that data up together with my data warehouse, and I can do that through Power Pivot. So Power Query, data extraction tool, Power Pivot, data modeling tool. Okay, so if you're in the enterprise BI world, this would kind of translate to your integration services tool, okay, SSIS, whereas Power Pivot is very similar to your data modeling tool or analysis services. Both of these are your self-service ways of doing SSIS and SSAS. The next tool here that we're going to talk about, again, Power Pivot being that data mashup tool and relationship tool, the next tool we're going to look at is Power View. Power View is a data visualization tool that allows you to pull in the data that you placed in Power Pivot and then create visualizations on top of it. The great thing about Power View is it takes the relationships that you created in Power Pivot and enables your users to interact with the data in a way that actually follows the relationships that you've created. Now you'll see some examples of this later, but basically what I'm trying to describe to you here is that you can have report items talk to each other without you having to do any extra configuration because it's all based on the relationships in your Power Pivot model. So based on those relationships, I can select a bar chart or a bar inside of a bar chart, and it'll actually filter another report item based on relationships I have. And Power View is a very interactive reporting tool. It's done quite often for ad hoc reporting. Okay. Power Map, next tool that we have in our Power BI tools. A lot of power words here, of course. I already have 4 power words, and I got more to go. Power Map is a mapping visualization tool, as you may guess, and it's built into Excel 2013 only. Now, I should mention this. I forgot to mention this after the first one here. For your Power Query, I mentioned that that one can be used both in Excel 2010 and 2013. Okay, both. Power Pivot is also available in 2010 Excel and 2013. Power View, if you're going the Excel path, is 2013 only. There is a way you can do it with SharePoint 2010, however. And then Power Map is also only Excel 2013. So just keep that in mind. There are some limitations to certain things that you're doing when it comes to these different tools. All right. Okay, so Power Map being another visualization tool, but it's specific to geographical data and allows you to place that geographical data on a 3D map. Okay. All right, now let's keep going. Power BI Sites. This is another component of Power BI. This is basically like SharePoint Online. So it's a component of Office 365. You have to have Office 365 to do it. And it's a Power BI site that you use for deploying these reports off to your site. So basically once I create these nice Power Pivot models, I create Power View reports on it, I need some way to share this with others because right now at this point it just lives in Excel.